All right, we're continuing with this week's breakdown segment with Ledarius Tennison. Corey Burton, the offensive coordinator from Hillwood High School in Nashville, Tennessee, has stopped by to break down this player. But this is the Locked On Ole Miss podcast.
You are Locked On Ole Miss, your daily podcast on the Ole Miss Rebels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, this is the Locked On Ole Miss podcast. I'm Stephen Willis alongside Corey Burton, offensive coordinator from Hillwood High School in Nashville, Tennessee. Before we get started, I do want to ask you if you have tried Built Bar Puffs yet. If not, you're depriving yourself of one of life's greatest joys. And guess what?
Did you just call me a puff?
Yeah, seriously. Like Ghostbusters. There's a new flavor. Ready?
Eat me a Built Bar and come after you.
Yeah. Delicious, indulgent cookie dough covered in chocolate. That's right, Built has done it again. Let me introduce you to your new favorite, cookie dough chunk puffs. And yeah, that's hard for me to say. Have a light and chewy texture, real cookie dough chunks, and of course they're covered in 100% real chocolate. All the joys of eating cookie dough without the hassle of making it. I don't know if you make cookie dough. Plus, it is healthy for you. Cookie dough chunk puffs are only 160 calories and have a whopping 15 grams of protein in them. So this is the offer. This is what I want you to do. Go to Built.com. Use promo code LOCKEDON15 and get 15% off your order. Use promo code LOCKEDON15 to get 15% off at Built.com.
And your sleeves will also decrease by 15% when you eat these because you'll be filling them. Yeah. Fill the sleeves.
Yeah, fill the sleeves. Corey Burton with his Built Bar. Interesting. So let's just jump right to it. Ledarius Tennison, the box safety, and I'm just going to call him a box safety because he is a guy that honestly in 2004, 2005 would have been an outside linebacker. And in this new era, he is a box safety because Ole Miss 3-2-6, obviously over half the defense plays that. So he plays an outside linebacker position, also does some spread offense starting stuff. And I will say this, when it comes to Ole Miss's defense, they have a type.
Explosive downhill shot out of a cannon.
Mm-hmm.
And physical. Hey, you know, Ole Miss had a nice little reputation there for a minute of like defense optional. They said Lane was like, yeah, not having that anymore. So here you go.
Well, let's talk about Ledarius Tennison. Like I said, he's a box safety. And what I mean by box safety, he's a primary guy that plays up towards the line of scrimmage and does a lot of stuff in the run game. The rumor is he's not as strong in pass defense. I do not know. I just think that he gets a lot of grief because he is so good up around the line of scrimmage, and maybe comparatively that's a problem.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably why he couldn't find his footing at Auburn. I just don't think, again, it was a scheme fit for him. Same probably with, with the other guys that we broke down, like Kari Coleman and Jared Ivey. You know, maybe scheme wasn't their best fit there were at their previous destinations. For somebody like Ledarius Tennison, you need a defense that has a ton of support behind you. And there's very few defenses that provide what he's looking for. The only other place he could have gone was Aisheem Young's previous spot at Iowa State. They play a similar defense. And I think there's not very many, maybe he could have gone and played for Dave Aranda down at Baylor. They have the Jacoby Stevens type box safety role where, they move him around and have him play, almost like a extended C gap linebacker. So, what I like about Tennison is it's going to be very hard to run on the perimeter with Tennison out there. And I think with having three over the top, and you're going to be able to play so many different coverages where it's not going to matter. You can play zone underneath. You can play so many combo coverages and just say, hey, Tennison, you stop so many jet sweeps. All you got to do is cover the flat, make sure nothing comes out there. You got this little small zone here, and we're good to go. We'll play everything else for you, and we'll help you out. and away they go, you know?
Yeah, and just like I've asked you all week, let's say everything is going right and everything's clicking for Ledarius Tennison. How does the defense look? How does he look?
He looks like a dude in space. So he's going to be, he looks like a linebacker that can run in space. You know, he's kind of like, you take two outside linebackers, one slightly better in pass coverage and the other's better at pass rush. You stick them side by side and like move them like 5 yards apart. That's going to be kind of what you're dealing with here. And you know, it's tough to get blocking angles on a guy like that. And he's going to be disruptive in a lot of your perimeter runs and a lot of your RPOs, because a lot of your RPOs will probably be quick screens to the flat or quick screens out to the perimeter, which he can go and chase and tackle for minimal gains, and jet sweeps that he can disrupt, and different kind of options and zone reads that he can provide misreads for the opposing quarterbacks, things like that. He disrupts a lot of the option game.
Yeah, he's a big player. And I think Derek Mason leaving Auburn also kind of affected Ledarius Tennison, because he was starting to get some time last year. Mm-hmm. But like I said,
and I'm surprised he didn't go to Oklahoma State.
Yeah, it kind of worked. But I didn't see him as the true free or strong safety that Derek Mason played. He kind of is – he's a hybrid guy. He is, yeah. If somebody ran a 4.25 or a 3.35, he would be that linebacker safety guy.
Yeah, he's run support on the passing strength side is what he is. You know, because you're going to have your really strong run support linebacker on the other side, and you're probably going to shift your front to where your defensive end plays primarily C gap if you're in a 4.25, or if you're in a true, 3.35. You're going to probably have one guy that's Ledarius Tennison and one guy that's like Kari Coleman or Jared Ivey playing the other side, and you're going to, put Tennison to your passing strength, let him patrol the flat there, make sure they can't run over there, have minimal zone stuff, and have coverage support behind you.
Talk about Ole Miss potentially having Ledarius Tennison, Isheem Young, Otis Reese, and AJ Finley, all similar type players. Mm-hmm. Talk about not knowing which players are responsible for which role and how interchanging could help them out.
Well, interchanging is the biggest key, the versatility in your lineup. I mean, I think they all do things very, very similarly. You're just going to have to determine who's better deep center, who's better in what coverages, and trying to figure out who does what well, and who does what better than others. Isheem Young is a dynamite hitter. I mean, bodies just explode when he touches them. Tennison is very similar. Otis Reese, he's probably similar in that way, but he's probably better with the ball. He's probably better at the ball in the air than those other two. Young can get some interceptions, so he can play closer to the box, but he doesn't have to play the Tennison role. He can play more kind of in between. So you're probably not going to get a whole lot of 2 high, maybe 3 high looks. You're going to get a ton of probably like 1 high with a lot of coverage underneath, and that's going to be hell for teams trying to run RPO.
Yeah, it should be real fun. Anyway, we have Isheem Young yet to go. We've got a little early talk about Isheem Young, and we're going to talk about him tomorrow. But this has been Ledarius Tennison and the breakdown of him, and we'll see you later.
I can't imagine those two hitting somebody at the same time.